Legal reforms of Pope Francis in the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has its own legal system called canon law. The Code of Canon Law 1983 and the Code of Canons of the Eastern Churches 1990 was promulgated by Pope Saint John Paul II. Kindly find the link attached here below regarding the video on CIC 1983 and CCEO 1919 for further deepening of knowledge on the Code of Canon Law and better understanding of the legal system in the Catholic Church. Pope Francis, being the supreme legislator, had full authority to interpret, amend, and promulgate the Code of Canon Law. Pope Francis has made significant reforms to canon law, reflecting his pastoral priorities, especially around mercy, accountability, synodality, and decentralization. Some of the major amendments by Pope Francis are the following. The first, Penal Law Reform, Book 6, 1983. Pope Francis amended Penal Law, Book 6, 1983 through the Apostolic Constitution Pascite Egregium Dei, promulgated in June 1, 2021 and was effective from December 8, 2021. The Book 6 was titled earlier Sanctions in the Church. Now it is known as Penal Sanctions in the Church. The amended Book 6 aimed at clarity, consistency, especially in response to sexual abuse, financial misconduct, and other offenses. Second, Marriage Nullity Reform 2015. Pope Francis issued Mittis Iudes Dominus Iesus 2015 for the Latin Church. This document reformed the marriage nullity process to make it faster, simpler, and more accessible, especially for those in difficult pastoral situations. It introduced a shortened procedure in clear cases and gave local bishops more authority to handle cases directly. He also issued Mittis et Misericordiae Iesus 2015 for the Eastern Catholic Churches. This document made similar reforms to the marriage annulment process in the Eastern tradition, also aiming at efficiency, mercy, and accessibility while respecting the unique structures of the Eastern churches. Third, Vos Estis Lux Mundi 2019. The Apostolic Letter issued Motu Proprio Vos Estis Lux Mundi by Pope Francis created a legal framework for holding bishops and major superiors accountable for abuse and cover-ups. Originally, Motu Proprio Vos Estis Lux Mundi, issued in 2019 as temporary law, it was later amended in 2023, reinforcing the Church's commitment to transparency, justice, and the protection of minors and vulnerable adults. 4. Predicate Evangelium 2022. The Apostolic Constitution Predicate Evangelium 2022 was issued by Pope Francis, which reformed the structure and mission of the Roman Curia, placing evangelization at its center. It emphasized service to the local churches, promoted synodality, and allowed lay people, including women, to lead Vatican departments. Predicate Evangelium replaced Pastor Bonus 1988 and took its effect on June 5, 2022, making a shift toward a more mission-oriented, inclusive, and decentralized Curia. Fifth, De Concordia Inter Codices 2016. De Concordia Inter Codices on the harmony between the codes is an apostolic letter issued motu proprio by Pope Francis on 15th September 2016. Its aim is to harmonize the Latin Code of the Canon Law in 1983 and the Code of Canons of the Eastern Churches 1990 by revising certain canons in the Latin Code to ensure consistency, particularly in matters of governance, sacraments, and inter-church relations. It clarifies procedures for mixed marriages between Latin and Eastern Catholics. Sixth, Magnum Principium 2017. Magnum Principium is a motu proprio issued by Pope Francis on 3rd September 2017. It concerns the translation of liturgical texts from Latin into other vernacular languages. Magnum Principium modifies Canon 838 of the Code of Canon Law 1983 to grant greater authority to local bishops' conferences in translation and approval of liturgical texts, while Holy See retains the role of confirming these translations. It gives local bishops' conferences more autonomy in shaping liturgy in their native languages, reflecting local cultures and linguistic nuances. Seventh, Communis Vita 2019. Communis Vita is motu proprio issued by Pope Francis on 19th March 2019, which amends Canon 694, paragraph 1 of the Code of Canon Law 1983. Communis Vita streamlines the process for the dismissal of a religious from an institute if he or she is absent from the religious community without permission for 12 months consecutively. It gives religious superiors clearer and more immediate authority to act when a member is effectively no longer living in community and not in communication, promoting discipline and communal integrity. Eighth, Spiritus Domini 2021. Spiritus Domini is an apostolic letter issued motu proprio by Pope Francis on 10th January 2021. It modifies Canon 230, paragraph 1 of the Code of Canon Law 1983. Spiritus Domini opens the lay ministries of lector and acolyte to women, which were previously reserved to men. Pope Francis clarifies that these ministries are lay, not part of the sacrament of holy orders, and are based on baptism, not ordination. Earlier, Canon 230, paragraph 1, reserved formal institution as lectors and acolytes to laymen. Now, after Post Spiritus Domini, Canon 230, paragraph 1 refers to lay persons instead of laymen, making it clear that women can be instituted as lectors and acolytes. What happens to the legal system after the death of Pope Francis? All universal laws and reforms he promulgated remain in effect unless changed by his successor. The College of Cardinals will elect a new pope who can modify, revoke existing legislation. We continue to pray for the Church.